So we haven't talked in a little while. So tell me a little bit about, like, you don't have to get into specifics, obviously, but where you're at before, just emotionally and everything, and spiritually, and then how things have progressed to now.
Oh wow. When we first met, I feel like I was I was definitely not in the best place that I needed to be, even though I had done some work through therapy. And like meditation and things of that sort. I felt like I needed to do deeper work. I was actually in a relationship when we had been doing our sessions, and it was honestly the most toxic relationship I had ever been in, and I was not at my best self. And after our sessions, I feel like it was in a way like my brain was rewired.
Hmm.
And after I was able to get out of that relationship, kind of break that chain, break that habit, I think that one of the main reasons why is because, uh, like past, I don't know how to explain it, like
Guys, if you want to learn how to hypnotize yourself to get rid of your anxiety, go ahead and click the link down in the description.
things that we experience in our childhood or traumatic events kind of follow through as we get older. We kind of repeat those habits. So
Hmm.
after we had done that work, it was like I was
Right.
back to the old Belle, the real Belle, before any of that trauma, all those
Right.
things that had happened in my life. And it was so liberating. And since then, I've just been in the best state of mind. I've been really following my purpose and being who I need to be as a woman. And I've
Mhm.
just, yeah, I'm
Yeah, and
definitely,
the relationship stuff is huge for people because, especially like you fall in love with somebody, so it's like the highest highs. So then obviously when there's breakups, it's like it's the lowest low. So I
yeah,
would say other than death, for people, breakups, and sometimes breakups are worse than losing a family member. It can really take a toll on you. So when you experience that and then you start to think about how you don't want that to happen, and then you actually re-manifest it over and over and over because you're focused on it, and
yeah.
then it just becomes this like self-fulfilling prophecy over and over again. So yeah, and then so how does it, not to down talk the therapy that you've done before, but
Oh, that's
what
okay.
was your different, what did you was what's that,
Oh, I said, no, that's
what did you
okay.
say?
I said,
Oh,
that's okay.
oh.
Sorry.
What did you notice was different from like all of the years of therapy, or however many therapy sessions you did compared to the work that we did? So what did you notice was different?
I just, it was weird. For me, it was like a flip that switched in my mind. I mean, I've done years of therapy. I mean, since I was 16, on and off. There would be years, a couple of years I wouldn't go, and then there would be like 2 years that I would go consistently. But after we had done the session, it was like, sorry, 1 second.
No, you're good.
Um, Sorry about that.
No, 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 you're good. I can edit it out. So
Okay, sounds good. Um,
yeah,
Sorry about that. I had told them
no,
I had a call. Um, but anyways, so yeah, after we had done our session, it was like a switch that flipped. I felt like I got into this clear state of mind. I mean, granted, the therapy that I've done, of course, was effective. It helped so much, but I felt like the work that we did really went down deeper,
right,
if
right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So here's one of the biggest things that I get when, because I work with a ton of people who've been in therapy for years for the same problem. And
Mhm.
one of the main things, and I still to this day haven't had anybody tell me otherwise. So I'll always ask the people a question. Okay, you want to let go of the hurt you've been harboring for your entire life, or you want to let go of this anger or fear or sadness. And the one thing that I find is, again, every single person to this day, is they never ask the subconscious mind if it's okay to let go of that hurt or of that belief or whatever, right? And if you remember, I don't remember specifically what emotion or what it was, but there was a few times where we would ask your subconscious and it didn't want to let it go, right?
Mhm. Oh,
And we
big
had to
time.
like negotiate and negotiate and negotiate and talk to it and get and like really get it to agree. Okay, now I understand why it's a benefit for me to let this go. Okay, I'm 100% okay to let it go. So the reason I share that with you is because if it's not 100%, it doesn't matter how much therapy you do, how much coaching, how many YouTube videos you watch, or how many books you read. if the driver, the brain that is in control isn't 100% on board, none of that stuff will work. It may work for a little while, but then you're just going to revert back to it. So tell me a little bit about that, how like it was reluctant to release certain things, and your experience of like how we kind of negotiated with it to get it to agree to let it go.
Oh, can you rephrase that?
Yeah. So tell me about how, so tell me about what your experience was when it didn't want to let certain things go, and sort of how we negotiated with it, and then what happened once we got it to agree, like the difference in how you felt, the difference in your mindset. So tell me a little bit about that.
I remember while we were going through that experience, I just remember working through, the subconscious level, and that part of me, it was like my inner child just holding on to that familiarity, to even though it was toxic, even though it was a trauma or something that I knew wasn't good for me, it was something that was familiar. And I think the reason why I didn't let it go was because I was scared of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of me felt like, oh, do I really deserve to be happy? Do I truly deserve to let go of this trauma, of this pain, in order to heal and to be free? Because sometimes we tell ourselves through a conscious level that we do deserve that, but on a subconscious level, we hold on to all that trauma, all that pain, because it's what's familiar to us, and we feel like we don't deserve that. So I think that was one of the reasons why it was so hard to let go. But once we were able to break through that process, it just felt so liberating. My confidence went up. I felt free.
Yeah, you dyed your hair
And
purple. It takes some
I dyed
confidence
my
to do that, or blue.
Oh yeah,
It takes confidence to do
absolutely.
that. So yeah, no, and that's the biggest thing, because sometimes people are like, well, I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to, do this and do that. And that's great. It's better than not doing it. But if
Mhm.
you don't know how to negotiate with the subconscious and get it to agree 100%,
Oh yeah.
it's, I mean, I've never met somebody who can get rid of a belief or a behavior when the subconscious isn't 100% on board. As a matter of fact, I was watching a podcast yesterday, and there's two gentlemen, and one of the guys like kind of kept self-deprecating, but not in a, it was, well, not really self-deprecating, but more so not giving himself credit for certain things. And then the other gentleman was like, man, you should give yourself credit, da, 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 da. And everything that the guy was telling him, like it was almost like he was just giving him advice, right? Everything the guy was telling him was making sense. But after, even though he would tell him like, dude, you've accomplished this and that, he would refer or revert back to doing it again. And he did it multiple times through the conversation, kind of not giving himself credit. And what was happening, I mean, since I do this, I'm just watching and I go, oh, I know exactly what's happening here. The guy's telling him, what he needs to do, but the guy deep down inside, his subconscious, really doesn't want to let it go. And
Mhm.
so he could sit there and talk to his blue in the face, nothing will ever change. So in order for that person to change, he has to go back and negotiate and get it to be 100%. And then once it's 100%, it'll let it go. So
Yeah.
good. Now, so if there was anybody who was watching this, or if you had to tell a friend about this, and then maybe they're on the fence or they're kind of thinking about it, what advice or what would you tell that person, if you had 2 minutes to give them a spiel? What would you tell them?
I would say just do it. There's nothing to lose and everything to gain. I
Right.
honestly believe, I tell all of my friends after this experience, I tell them it was the best investment I made in myself.
Right.
It really is. It's the best investment that you can make in yourself. You're working through a subconscious level. You're really getting down to that nitty gritty. It feels so liberating too when you can break free from those chains. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I tell people all the time, because in what, usually it's like people think, if I don't know if it's going to work, or, they don't want to invest in themselves or whatever. And, when I went through this process for myself, I hardly had any money at the time. And it was a big investment for me at the time. But I did it. I'm like, okay, what's the worst going to happen, right? I spend the money and then I'm in the same position I'm in anyways. I spend, thousands of dollars on vacation only to try to feel happy. And then I come back to my life and realize, okay, I'm still not happy, right? So what's the worst going to happen here, right? But, the only thing I regret at the end of the day is that I didn't find something like this a long time ago. Like I would have paid 10 times the amount, that what I originally had to invest in myself to have this result. And
Right.
I didn't even honestly, like, just over the past 2 years, as I've gone through this process, if you would have told me 2 years from now, hey Dom, you'll be in the position that you're in, you would be able to like work with so many people and this and that and the other, I would have thought, man, it seems impossible, right? Because I had all those limitations set in my mind, I had all those beliefs and everything else, right? So yeah, no, I totally agree. I wish I could just help everybody. If or maybe not even myself, right? So if I could help people to learn how to do this, to help other people, and just like, send out this sort of ripple effect of just getting people reprogrammed and everything else, it could really make a huge difference. And actually,
Oh,
I've been
absolutely.
thinking about that lately, and that's kind of the next step I'm going to be doing in the next probably 5 months or so. I got to go get certain things done. But yeah, I think that's going to be the next level is just teaching people how to do this. Because then if I can help create 10 people who do what I do, and they can help 500 people, over the past 2 years, not including just conversations I've had with people where, you help them a little bit, but then maybe they can't do it or they don't want to or whatever, like not even including that, just people on a one-on-one basis who are like, yes, I want to go through the process. It's got to be 600 people, right? So in the
Right.
course of 2 years, 10 people times that's 6,000 people that I can help be a part of affecting. So I think that's kind of where my mind is going in the future. So
Yeah.
so obviously, like, we did the work together, right? And so there's certain things that I did with you, but also there's going to be certain things that you took away that you can like use in your own life, right? So what would you say the
Mhm.
top one or two biggest takeaways were, the things that you learned about what we did
Mhm.
that you can continue and that you're going to continue moving forward in your own life? So what were the top one or two things you took away?
I would say one of the biggest things was the kind of like that timeline therapy. I
Mhm.
I really liked that experience because I was able to put myself into um those memories, those
Memories?
experiences, yes, and work through them. And that's something that I actually want to use for myself and my future clients as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
To get back into holistic healing and
right,
therapy. That's something I want to work through, even through like a guided meditation.
right.
So that's definitely one of the biggest takeaways because that was something that was so liberating and was the greatest tool that I know that I'll be able to take with me for the rest of my
How would
life.
you describe your experience? Like if you had to explain to somebody what you saw, what you felt, like what was your experience with that?
I don't know if other people have experienced this, but for myself, I could actually, being in those memories, sometimes I could smell certain smells that, I remembered in that time period. I could remember exactly what I was wearing, how I felt, and even emotions that I felt at that moment, just releasing.
Hmm.
It was very vivid. I'm sure other people have
Did we
similar.
go through anything that was genetic?
Yes, I think even
Did we go
I think it
was
froze.
yeah, was anything, I don't remember specifically, was there anything that was passed down from like your parents? What's that?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I think it had
Can you
it
hear me?
froze for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Was there anything that I don't remember specifically, but was there anything that we tapped into that was something that was passed down from your mom or your dad or your
Mhm.
parents or anything like that? Was there some of that there?
Oh, absolutely, especially when it was surrounding money and success. That was one of the biggest
Hmm.
things. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there were some trauma and things that happened in the family that did pass down.
Right,
Even though I wasn't necessarily exposed to it, I'm talking about even like 3 generations, 4 or 5
right.
generations prior. And since then too, I mean, I've been doing so well in my job, my career, aside from the holistic career that I've been, working on. um I got a raise, a promotion. I've been doing so well.
That's
And
how it works.
yeah, exactly. And my bosses, they've been so supportive as well in my pursuit of like my career and everything. So to have that, I feel so very blessed. And I think also that change in the mind and attitude, and it just
Yeah,
it
the
was a
whole
ripple effect.
the whole money thing is basically, for anybody watching, what happens is if there is generational trauma, your family was poor, whatever, there's certain things that they experienced, it becomes so traumatic that those genetic memories get passed down through our DNA. And there's a way you can access those memories. And I know some people listen to this may not believe it, and it is what it is, but it's real. Okay. Or it could even be something that happened to your mother while she was pregnant with you, right? If your mom was fending and couldn't get by, and you can imagine how much trauma that is, especially being a pregnant mother. You have a kid coming on the way. There's just constant stress and worry all the time. Or even if you just grew up poor, all of it, right? So that stuff gets stuck in our subconscious, and then we constantly are thinking about, oh man, I don't want to be in trouble financially. I don't want to lose this. And then it keeps us sort of living that same loop over and over again, like we talked about before. So when you get rid of all that, and then you can start to focus on what you want, which is, instead of like, I don't want to be stressed out, I don't want to be worried financially, I don't want to be in debt. And you start thinking of, okay, I want abundance, I want to get a raise, I want, whatever, I want to have X amount of dollars in my bank account, I want to have this type of lifestyle, without even having to try. Things just automatically, like you said, I got a raise. And what else do you say? You got a raise and something else happened? Promotion. Yeah. So it's like, and I'm sure it wasn't something that like you tried really hard at. It probably just kind of happened, right?
It was like a ripple effect.
Yeah. Just like boom, all of a sudden. And I can't tell you how many people that have had similar stories, whether they're in sales, like, oh my God, I had the biggest month or the biggest week I've ever had, or, oh, like this amount of money fell into my lap randomly through this or that or the other. And that's what happens when you program your mind to see that stuff. It just sort of happens automatically. So wonderful. So, well, thank you for doing this with me, Belle. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know it's something you don't normally do. So if anybody is interested in finding you, like on social media and stuff like that, where can they find you? Instagram, or where are you at?
They can find me on Instagram, Belle_Benidini. I can send you my.
Well, I think it's right here on the bottom left. It should show up.
Oh, so yeah, my name and then _.
At Belle Benidini. There you go. Awesome. So good. Well, I'm looking forward to, keeping in touch with you in the future and in your journey. So